People everywhere are starting to listen to him. He's going on French, British, Italian, Japanese television.
This is the wide world of Weingarten.
Wide World of Weingarten, Monday, June 20th. It's just past 10 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Fun weekend of golf. Matt Fitzpatrick wins the U.S. Open. I didn't win any money, unfortunately. DJ didn't really do much of anything. John Rahm had a chance. He was actually the favorite at multiple points, in the final round, but eventually he crapped out. And I don't even really know what happened with him. He had a bad run as he does sometimes. I probably look into that more if I cared, I guess. But we're on to the BMW Championship and the Travelers. Congratulations, Matt Fitzpatrick. Matt Matthias Schmidt is who I want to bet on this week in the BMW Championship. So nice segue into that. Matthias Schmidt, SCHMID. Don't confuse him with Matt Schmidt, SCHMITT, also on the European Tour. Nicholas Nogard Muller, the other guy I'm looking at. Hoping to get 80, maybe 100 to 1. Let's see what prices I can find. I haven't had a ton of time to shop this Monday morning. The Travelers Championship, I have nothing so far, but I'm looking at Maverick McNeely and Davis Riley. Joaquin Niemann too. Guess I'll look into these tournaments more today and tomorrow, see what numbers I can gather there this week. It was fun, real fun tournament this week, and I enjoyed watching the end on Sunday, even though I was staring down at losing money. Always fun though when it's a good tournament like that. LIV stuff, Saudi Golf League, hearing more names. Brooks Koepka has been tied to it. Abraham Answer, Matt Wolf. That's not as nearly as an exciting name, but I expect multiple more defections between now and the next event in July in Portland. What's his name? Hideki Matsuyama has been linked to them, so we'll see what happens there. Always, it's real interesting stuff going on in golf behind the scenes right now. Anyway, more importantly, got baseball to talk about. The NL MVP getting some movement with Mookie Betts and Manny Machado both on the disabled list. I'm less optimistic about Betts, as the Dodgers saying he's only out 2 weeks means he's probably out a month. Dodgers are notorious for fudging the truth when convenient, and with the depth of their lineup, they don't necessarily need to be aggressive with pushing Mookie Betts to come back from this injury. They are vulnerable, though, to not win the division again for the second straight year, which, kind of unbelievable to already be in this position and saying, wow, do you believe the Dodgers could, not win the NL West 2 years in a row with this roster? But pitching depth, man, it looks good on paper, but hardly ever goes the way you think it does. And then the AL, Aaron Judge, the pinstripe premium, as I've been calling it. Nobody really wants to compare his numbers to Vlad's 2021 numbers and see that they're relatively the same, and that Vlad got 0 first place votes with his near Triple Crown season. Judge doing really well. We're not talking about him for a Triple Crown at all. Somehow he's odds on for MVP. I don't necessarily understand it, but at the same time, I get it. He's the Yankees, power hitter, and that's always going to play in this kind of stuff. But it's a long season. I don't think he should really be like minus 140. I've seen as high. I think that's a little high, but Ohtani isn't really pushing him right now, although he's been very good as both a hitter and a pitcher his last 2 starts. Ohtani's really just not doing what's expected out of him, I guess, by the media, even though if you compare his stats year over year, they're fairly similar, and the strikeouts are up and the home runs are down. Mike Trout home runs 5 straight games. Can never count Mike Trout out, but All the arguments you're going to use against Shohei Ohtani, I think, go double for Trout. You know, Trout's Trout was in the lineup when they lost 14 straight games, just like Ohtani was. They win with Trout, they lose with Trout. Obviously, Trout and Ohtani's MVP candidacies at this point, tied to the Angels making a wild card run and likely winning it, similar to Bryce Harper in the National League. Not out of the question, but the reason I still like Ohtani over Trout, and I think if the numbers keep drifting up, I'd consider betting more Ohtani. If they do make the playoffs, it's going to be on the back of Ohtani's pitching, carrying them to those much needed wins. Which again is not to say Mike Trout isn't also contributing. He's Mike Trout, he's great, but there's a lot going on, and that's to say nothing of Jose Ramirez, who has more home runs than strikeouts. Rafael Devers, who he's playing almost just as well day to day as Aaron Judge, and Yordan Alvarez. He's got a case to make. He's the best hitter in baseball right now. Just he's pacing slightly behind Aaron Judge in home runs. And then there's Vladimir Guerrero, who last year was the second choice all along, and I saw him drift up. I think he was as high as like 50-1 at Westgate recently. You can still get him 20s, 30s. There's a lot of big numbers on Vlad. I'm not saying that he's going to make a run this year. Obviously, Aaron Judge is the guy to beat at the moment, and a lot obviously has to do with the Yankees team success. As long as the Yankees keep winning every single game, beating the heads in of their division opponents more often than not, it's going to be hard to argue that Judge isn't deserving of the MVP. Somebody else is just going to have to do something more extraordinary than whatever it is Judge keeps doing. And for me, that's still Ohtani, who can have 25 home runs or even 30 home runs, 100 runs, 100 RBIs, 200 strikeouts as a pitcher. I just don't see how, if he hits those benchmarks or even close to those benchmarks, we have this argument for a second time in 2 years that he's not the most valuable player in any baseball league anywhere in the world. It's just, we're going to go around in circles. But again, at the moment, I can also recognize that Aaron Judge is likely, if the season ended today, sort of shit, he's likely to win. But the season doesn't end today, so don't light your victory cigars just yet. The Cy Young race, Sandy Alcantara is a slight head and shoulder above the next tier of guys. Joe Musgrove, no disrespect to him at the moment, he's pitching really well. I think he has 12 starts, 12 quality starts. He's just slightly behind Sandy Alcantara in terms of every metric number or whatever. Corbin Burns up there, Zach Wheeler there as well, and then Tony Gonsolin. Can't really compare Gonsolin with Alcantara like on a gross innings basis, but Gonsolin is similar to Corbin Burns last year in that every game he goes out and pitches 6 innings, and those are 6 really elite innings, and he's also 8-0, so really there's just a threshold. I don't know what it is, but like if he gets to like 15-2, and has 40 less innings than somebody else, a lot to consider there, but still early as far as pitchers go. McClanahan, he's leading the AL race. He pitches today against the Yankees. Nestor Cortez also in that game. He's one of the favorites. Alex Manoah, still some good numbers on him, 8-1, 9-1. I'm interested in him. I think Justin Verlander gave up 4 earned runs on Sunday. I bet a little tiny bit on Verlander at 5-1, but it was mostly just a fade of myself. But McClanahan, he is the front runner at this point. Cortez, Manoah, also making serious pushes. Garrett Cole, can never count him out either. But the Cy Young races are really not decided early. So we'll see what happens there as the starts pile up. The Rookie of the Year race is where it's at right now, especially for me. Julio Rodriguez is the favorite in the American League. Jeremy Pena temporarily out with a thumb injury. He'll still be a contender when he returns. Bobby Witt, see some prices between 5-1 and about 9-1. I've said before, I'm in on Bobby Witt at 10-1. Anything higher, I'm just looking to maybe hedge some risk on Julio, and I have a little bit on Pena, but nothing I'm very excited about. Joe Ryan, Shane Boz, I always forget if it's Baz or Boz. They're around at 30-1 plus. Not interested really in either one of them. I did see Shane Boz get as high as 200-1. I probably would have been interested there. Rutschman, Riley Green, definitely some potential there. He can kind of jam his way up to that top tier if he continues to perform well. I think he was on base 4 times in his first start this weekend with the Tigers. Torkelson's drifted out to 60-1. Stephen Kwan back out to 60-1. Probably not getting many votes there. Josh Lowe 80-1. If you could find 100-1 or 200-1 on Lowe, I would definitely take a look at him just because he's a Rays starting outfielder. He should likely get a ton of at-bats now that he's back up. And, truthfully, the only reason he was down is to manipulate his service time. He was striking out a shitload. He was just striking out like 35% of the time. But really, the Rays sent him down for an extended period to keep the service time, for future years. But he's back now. He should get consistent at bats. I really think this is Julio's race to run and his award to lose. But maybe, if the Rays somehow get hot and Wander Franco comes back, and that benefits everybody in the lineup. So a lot of good things can happen. I think Josh Lowe is worth a look at 100-1 plus. But yeah, the NL race is the more wide open race. If you look at the Superbook, which are the odds I usually use, I can't use Odds Boom anymore. I was really enjoying Odds Boom's futures screen, but now it doesn't exist. So back to finding a new source for that. But in terms of the NL race at the Superbook, Michael Harris 7-2 favorite. That's exciting. If you're like me and you have a lot of money on 75-1, he's gotten down to under 4-1, so that's a big deal. Mackenzie Gore had another bad start at Coors this weekend, drifts out to 4-1. Nolan Gorman, Spencer Strider, both 5-1. Spencer Strider, real interesting. He's probably the best pitcher right now in the National League. His issue is going to be total innings. Also, when are they going to use those innings, especially if this is a playoff team? You're going to want those innings in August, September, October. So what are they going to do for the next couple starts? Is he going to get enough innings to really contend? Then there's Saya Suzuki, who's drifted out to 10-1 at the Superbook. Remember, he was a odds-on favorite after less than a month. O'Neal Cruz 14-1. He's finally called up. Should be official today. He's going to be the everyday shortstop, I think, in Pittsburgh. They have a couple candidates on that roster, but he immediately becomes the most prominent Pirate candidate. And then Brendan Donovan, Alec Thomas, they're kind of in the nether regions. Brendan Donovan doesn't get much respect, but he has Nolan Gorman and Juan Yepes, his own teammates, to contend with. So you have 3 guys who all kind of deserving of votes. 2 of them are always going to get screwed. Christopher Morrell, I think is it Christopher Morrell, on the Cubs. He got called up straight from Double-A. 18-1 at Superbook. I like him more than Suzuki right now. Obviously, Suzuki can come back and put up great numbers and really inject himself into the race, but Morrell's been nothing but positive to that lineup since he's come up, batting leadoff, playing multiple positions, etc. And then C.J. Abrams, who I mentioned, he benefits from Machado and Fernando Tatis's extended injury absence. Gets every day at bats. Was as high as 250 to 1. He's 20 to 1 at Westgate. I saw 80 to 1 still at FanDuel. I think there's some value there. Then the next couple, the next tier guys got Jack Suwinski at 3 home runs yesterday and a walk-off. Kind of like a Reed Detmers. That's really cool, but I just don't see him, getting anything but place and show votes in the voting. Bryson Stott, hot and cold. He's got a chance, but he's got to start doing more stuff. And then Cabrera, Hunter Green, these guys, all nice rookies, future elite pitchers, but I don't think they seriously contend for the Rookie of the Year award. So C.J. Abrams, if you can get out and find an 80 to 1 there, he's got some value. Riley Green, if you can find a big number on him and you don't have money on Julio Rodriguez or Jeremy Pena, some value there. Then in the MVP, man, I don't know what to do. I gotta think about MVP situations a bit more, but really for me, in my mind, the Rookie of the Year race really starts this week. Julio Rodriguez obviously has a big lead in the AL, and then Michael Harris, as long as he keeps hitting home runs and playing elite center field defense, he'll likely be one of the finalists. But there's just so many guys in the National League: Gorman, Mackenzie Gore, Strider, what's his name, O'Neal Cruz just being called up today. Like all these guys are elite. And speaking of O'Neal Cruz, I mean, he'll show up on those exit velocity leader charts every day when he starts hitting. And again, speaking of exit velocity leader charts, Shohei Ohtani still showing up and leading those lists as recently as Saturday. So don't sleep on Ohtani. I see 5 to 1, 6 to 1 MVP popping up. There's gonna get a point where that number is good enough to play again. But O'Neal Cruz, if you can get some 20 to 1 plus on him too, I'm not opposed there. C.J. Abrams, probably your best bet in terms of value. I saw 100 to 1 at Bet365, 80 to 1 at FanDuel today. Then as far as regular money line spread, stuff going on today, baseball wise, I like the Pirates minus 107. The Cardinals plus 151, and the Tigers plus 168 versus the Red Sox. Although I think that'll probably be the least enjoyable of those 3 games to watch. Don't have any first innings yet because it's still early enough. I haven't had a chance to go through the offerings and see any numbers, so I can't really tell you anything, unfortunately there. But Pirates, Cardinals, Tigers, money lines, what I like today, and Schmid 75 to 1 in the BMW Championship. Nicholas Nogard Muller shopping for some prices there. And then C.J. Abrams for NL Rookie of the Year. If you can grab the big number there, that's what I got today. Be back tomorrow with more baseball stuff. Thanks for listening.